What's up, everybody? Welcome to the First Generation Suburbs podcast. My name is Faith.
And my name is Myron, and today we're going to talk about something that is hot in the community right now. Heavy on my heart, though.
I don't know if it's heavy on mine, but it's at the top of my mind.
This is the thing. We're gonna talk about decisions and choices today. Choices and decisions, and there's a person in the media right now whose choices and decisions, to be quite honest, have been a head scratcher, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
But to say the most, I mean, my guy was tweaking at a high level. We're going to talk about Uncle Shannon Sharpe. We're going to talk about why black men are so fascinated. I'm not even going to bring this to black men. Why men in general are so fascinated.
Correct.
For thousands of years, mind you. Men in general have been fascinated with youth and conquering women and
younger women
and all the we're gonna get into it today. All right, Faith. Now this is the thing. I have my version of what I see, read, perceive, and break down based on this Shannon Sharpe situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know you have your take.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
So let's start with your take on the Shannon Sharpe situation from a woman's perspective.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so allegedly, because that's very important to say.
Very important. We don't know anything.
So we don't really
even know. And we're gonna start this by saying we don't know Shannon Sharpe,
yeah.
and I really do like Shannon Sharpe a lot, and I really do enjoy what he has built, and to see the most recent turn of events, it really does suck.
Yes.
Continue.
So allegedly,
Shannon
Sharpe
allegedly
entertained a young woman.
OnlyFans model.
19
years of age.
Hi.
Shannon Sharpe is in his 60s. So we're talking about 40-something year age gap.
Just a little bit of it's interesting. Yikes. Okay.
Yeah, all right, we're going to pause there at the age real quick.
Let's
pause at the age.
Not even 25. Come on.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, for real, 25.
Like bro.
Like for real. No, this is just for anybody. This is just for any man, really, for real. Like, once you cross 35, you can't go younger than like 22.
Yeah.
Once you cross, and that's you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like as you go further in age, that line drags with you.
Yeah.
You gotta stay. Don't cross 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tens is forgivable.
Like 10 years age gaps. Yeah.
10 is forgivable.
Yeah.
Teens,
you gotta stop.
You get a side eye.
Yeah, that's not
decades. You're diabolical. If you're at decades, you're diabolical. Okay, if you're talking 2, 3, 4 decades.
Yeah, that's too much.
I also think you cannot, if you're an older man or woman, the rule should be, unless you're like a teen mom or teen dad, the rule should be you can't date nobody younger than your youngest kid.
Oh, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like, don't bring nobody in here younger than me to be the new stepdaddy. You know what I mean? Can you imagine?
No.
Shannon Sharpe has a 30-year-old daughter.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Think about
that's too much.
At your big age, your daddy's dating a teenager?
Yeah, no, that's crazy. That's crazy work.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say from a woman's perspective.
We've got to get through the rest of it. But right now, it's an alleged interactions that Shannon Sharpe says are consensual. Continue.
And we'll leave it there. What I will say is these black men need to be listening.
All men, but specifically us.
The reason why I said black men is because I was about to say something else.
No, we're going to get into it because we're going to get into it, the full thing.
Because black women, and I'm going to highlight Sister Monique.
Yeah. Now, listen, we need to be careful when quoting Monique. I'm just going to say this. I also love Monique, but I also side-eye Monique. So as we quote her, we quote her specifically in this instance.
This specific
there we go.
instance.
Talking to Shannon Sharpe.
This specific instance.
There we go. Yes. Go ahead. Continue.
Where she basically told him, you need to leave them little girls alone.
Now, the Holy Ghost will come to you several times to warn you, to get you out of some sin. Now, this is the thing that people don't know. If you ignore the Holy Ghost, he's going to put you out on Front Street for everybody to see your mess. Continue.
Yeah. So she said, you need to leave little girls alone, and you need to get you an older woman who can cook you some good food.
That's right.
Rub your feet at night.
That's right.
And make sure your needs are met.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Like you said, Monique has said some interesting things, but in this instance,
spot on.
That was the truth.
A wrong clock is right 2 times a day.
Absolutely the truth.
Spot on. She really did read him like that. He needed that.
And it was said with so much love and care.
Grace.
Like, hey man, you need to stop doing this.
Yes.
Which is also, because, Cat Williams was also alluding to some things. He was on there telling
that too. He said the same thing.
Which is telling me something.
Same year
too. Maybe, potentially, allegedly.
Possibly.
Shannon is known for dating these younger girls.
And
the people were trying to tell him, maybe you shouldn't do that.
But this is the thing, when you're so unhealed, good advice sounds like bad advice.
Sure.
When you're so, because this is the thing. This is my official theory. I was actually just talking to my guy about this on the phone. If you're a 60-something-year-old man and you're pumped up about the fact that you bagged a 19-year-old OnlyFans model, inside of you, there's something that was rejected, broken, and you're stuck in your mind in this time, and your 60-year-old big age, success, alcohol business, podcasts, TV shows, you're not thinking about none of that because there's a 19-year-old version of you deep down inside that is getting fed and energized, and it's a version of you that's not healed, that you haven't accepted, that it hasn't rectified with, and because of that, it produces actions that only a 19-year-old with nothing to lose would be doing, because he's not making the actions of a 60-year-old man with millions to lose.
Millions. The fact that this just happened after signing a $100 million deal.
Now, hold on. Now, listen.
What?
What I'm about to say is gossip.
Everything's alleged. And
this is also alleged.
Did he not sign the deal?
No, he did. Now, word on the street, I'm messy. And the algorithm, it brings mess not my dwelling. So, listen. Word on the street is Shaq really wanted that podcast deal that Shannon Sharpe got. So Shaq put out a hootie hoo on some info on Shannon Sharpe. The word is they found out about the 19-year-old OF model. Got Tony Busby on the case. Now Tony Busby is the guy who Jay-Z just beat out on some defamation cases. Tony Busby is the one who was doing all those Me Too cases. He be bringing up all the fraudulent, kind of fishy exploitation cases. Because if they don't, he was the one who was doing stuff with Diddy, for Diddy too, brought some of them cases about Diddy. What they do is they'll bring all these salacious things up to try to get you to fold and pay out. And Shannon didn't pay. And they said, all right. And now he's got to take a step away because they let it leak who Jane Doe was, because he wasn't bolding then. He was fine. It's all allegations, whatever. As soon as people found out it was a 19-year-old white girl,
And then the text and the audio.
Now listen. Now this is the thing. This is the other thing.
It's all alleged.
Allegedly. This is the other thing about these tapes and audio. Now first off. Shannon Sharpe country as hell. Okay? How he was talking, he is country as hell. And I think part of this is that country mind that's ate up a little bit still in there. Because that mind is ate down a little bit in there. Okay? As brilliant as Shannon Sharpe is, some things in there ate up. You hear me?
Allegedly.
No, actually. Because I watch the shows, okay?
Allegedly.
Ate up. Mine ate up. Okay? I'm not saying CTE, but I'm saying CT. I don't know if he's going to get in the room. I think the biggest thing like that you see is like he does not understand how phones work. He don't understand about voice recordings. He don't understand the stuff that you'll never put in writing or saved in a voice memo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be really careful.
Like how has he been a professional athlete for so long and he just moved? These guys are so loose.
Yeah, you can't be saying crazy stuff to people.
The text messages in the phone.
Yeah.
On Al Gore's internet.
Yeah. You can't do it.
It's forever.
It is forever. That's why I tell, even...
He should have been on Signal, like Pete Hegseth.
Those still got leaked.
Yeah, I know. But Pete Hegseth he's a Russian asset, so he was using it for the wrong stuff, allegedly.
You cannot say stuff like that.
Why? Why can't I say that?
Because that's not true. We don't know that.
We don't not know that.
But we don't know that for real.
We don't not know that for real.
We can't be saying stuff like that.
Allegedly.
Anyway.
Continue.
All I'm saying is I think you're right. I think there's some elements of things being like unhealed.
It looks like it has all the signs of unhealing.
And I think that it's kind of like when it's almost like self-sabotage. You know what I mean? Like you get to this pinnacle, this place you've been working for a really long time, but yet you've been unable to overcome your own vices. Or
there's a part of you that you haven't come to grips with that you keep running away from.
And then now it all blows up in your face, and you are literally losing what you worked so hard to gain, which to me is like the
devil don't never show up when you broke like he should.
Oh my God. That is so true. But it's like when you got
wait till you hit $100 million. It'd be like, you know what?
Let me get all that money.
That's why you need to get healed early. But when you broke, get healed when you're broke, okay?
Yeah.
Because if you got to wait to get healed when you're rich, you're going to lose that money.
Yeah, because it will
that brokenness is going to manifest. Okay, now listen, get healed. Yeah. Maybe the reason God ain't let your breakthrough come through yet is because you're still too broken to receive it.
Yeah, you got to definitely be healed up because otherwise, like, this stuff will inevitably come to the surface. One thing that Mom would always say to us as kids is that, like, I pray that, like, you never get to a place of, like, influence or any of these things and be in a position where your character cannot sustain you. And when she said that when we were little, I used to think, like, what kind of mom are you? Like, you should be, like, cheering us on. Like,
first off, who's not pushing us towards massive success?
Like, what are you talking about? But then as we became adults, I understood it much better, which is like, if your character can't sustain you in whatever position that you are in,
cooked,
then that's not a good thing.
You're going to get cooked. And
so the prayer, which is a tough prayer, I'm sure to pray as a parent in some ways, like, hey, I don't want my kid to be elevated to this point if they don't have good character for that. She used to
pray that I would get arrested, which really was like...
I didn't know that. When you were a teenager?
Yeah, she said...
You were acting bad.
She said, and I pray that if you go out there... This is a crazy story. And I pray that if you go out there and do something wrong, that the Lord allows them to catch you. I said...
Oh, yeah, she did say that. Yeah. That you would get caught if you're that you would pray for that you would get caught if you were doing wrong.
Which kept me on the straight and narrow for quite a long time.
That kept me forever because, you know, I'm just a scaredy cat in general. Like, I do not like getting in trouble.
I had to get my own relationship with God.
I'm
like,
a rule follower.
Man, don't tell her this.
That's too late. That would happen anyway. So.
No, we got it worked out. Like, there's a couple of things that's still between me and God.
Oh. Everything didn't make the cut.
Yeah, everything. He didn't tell her everything. Listen, I be trying to tell people I got a real relationship with God. I know God for real. I'm not lying to y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Gosh.
I know God
That's funny.
at a deep and spiritual level. God loves me. I'm His son, and He loves me for real. Okay, I'm trying to help y'all out.
Listen, but the point is that if you find yourself in the unfortunate position now where you have to step away. Listen, this is ESPN is owned by Disney. Disney does not play. Disney will, for these type of allegations, just the allegations alone. You saw what happened to Jonathan Majors, and he don't even get me started on him. I think it's okay.
I don't think it's about race necessarily, even though it is. I also think it's about the type of people that these men are choosing to be with.
Yes, I mean, listen, I'm not a fan of Jonathan Majors. I don't agree.
I think he's a really good actor.
I think he's a good actor, but I don't know. I don't agree with what he did. And
what did he do?
He still like dragged that girl and some other stuff.
He ran away from that young lady.
Yeah, but he still had a part that he played that was not right.
He really didn't do nothing. When I looked at the video, I looked at the tape. He didn't really do nothing. He took his phone away and ran away from her.
No, but I think he he hit her or did something still to her.
I don't remember him like hitting her.
Okay, well, I'm still not impressed with Jonathan Majors.
I mean, that's fine. You can not be impressed with. I still like. I'm gonna see that bodybuilder movie.
He's a good. I'm not saying he's not a good actor. He is talented.
Yeah.
But I do.
But nobody should be putting their hands on anybody.
Thank you. That's my whole point.
Especially men not putting their hands on. I don't condone any sort of physical violence towards anyone, specifically not men towards women.
Yeah, and I think women...
And not women towards men, because some women are strong.
Yeah, exactly. But what I was going to say, I also think women should not do, say, or whatever, like do provoking things towards men,
hit me.
taunting men, or whatever. Like, I don't agree with that either. I think that's absolutely crazy and shouldn't be happening as well.
That's crazy.
But what this really comes down to for me, and this is, bringing it back to all men, when you choose to entertain a certain type of woman, and the reason why you're going to get some different results, okay? And so I think that is something to keep in mind. And it's not even just the woman as well, because you see what happened with Shannon. It was also what was also in him that came out. Yeah, the words he was saying that came out, and he was saying some really crazy stuff. So
now, listen, I understand people be like talking dirty, but like there is like
no, he was saying some crazy
stuff.
That's
unhealed. That's unhealed.
He was saying some super crazy stuff.
Hey, listen, I'm not gonna quote him because
I'm not gonna quote him.
But
he was saying some crazy
if
stuff.
you're a kid, don't Google it. But if you're an adult, Google it. It's crazy.
But I think the point is though that like there's some people, and I firmly believe this, that can bring out the worst in you. And if you decide to entertain those people,
then you don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised with the results that come out of you when you know for sure you should not be bothered with the person that is not going to bring out the best in you. They're going to bring out the worst in you. And that's what I'm talking about. When you pick up people that are going to bring out the worst, you can expect the worst results.
My God.
And there are some men that are entertaining women that are bringing out the worst in them, and vice versa, and all the different ways you can frame it. When you decide to hitch your wagon to somebody that is actually not going to encourage you and build you up, help your character to like just show up as the best version of yourself, but in fact they're going to bring out the craziest parts of you, then you should leave them alone.
This is the thing. I think some people have so normalized their dysfunction that, let me not say dysfunction, I'll say this. People have lived unhealed lives so long that healed lives look foreign to them.
That's probably true.
Healed lives to some people look like the oddest thing. What do you mean you don't argue? What do you mean you don't cuss each other out when you have a disagreement? What do you mean you don't throw things? What do you mean you're not trying to run him over with your car?
Oh my
There's
God,
some people that have lived in dysfunction.
Yeah.
For so, what do you mean you don't cheat? What do you mean you're not trying to have a whole separate family on the side? What do you mean you're not? There's some people who have grown up in an unhealed environment, and the unhealed world is the only world that they know.
That is true.
And so they try to step into a situation where they're going to bring their unhealed, because this is the thing, if you don't know that it's unhealed, you'll call it normal.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't understand that what you have in your basket is rotten eggs, but you didn't grew up with rotten eggs, so you think rotten eggs is normal. This is delicious food. My body and stomach have now adjusted to be able to take in this toxic food because this is how I had to survive.
Yeah.
And so many times people live in survival mode forever.
That is true.
And never figure out, hey, listen, I don't have to live in that kind of space anymore. But they've never been exposed to healed. So the only thing that they know is perpetuating more toxic.
That's true. And I would say the unfortunate part is if that is the vantage point, that's all you know, is if you have people around you that are trying to share with you, hey, these are some blind spots you might have, and you choose not to listen.
That's where you get exposed.
That's where it's like, dang, like you had like warning signals, people trying to tell you. And sometimes if you're not in the position to hear and receive,
come on, you're going to shut it out.
Then you're going to be like, forget it. You're against me. You don't care about me. You're just trying to, you're trying to talk bad about me or whatever the case may be.
Sometimes people not your haters, they trying to help you.
Yeah. And like, to be honest, like true accountability, true friends.
They don't feel good.
Are going to
hurt your
like
feelings.
say some things to you that might be hard for you to hear. And that's okay. Like, it's totally okay if you, like, oh, man, like, I didn't really not want to hear that, but thank you for telling me. You know what I mean? Like, or I didn't realize I had that blind spot, but I'm glad that you pointed it out to me. I think those things are super important, and people need to be able to have those moments of reflection.
It's a scripture that says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. The thing that people don't realize about iron sharpening iron, it is a process of friction.
Yeah.
The sharpening is shaving things off, refining, removing things that don't serve the iron to become sharp, right? The sharpening process is the removal of things that no longer serve to expose something that is better underneath. Yeah. And a lot of times people get to the sharpening process and they say that this is hurting me because you're ripping things off of me. But it's not that you're ripping things off that you need. It's actually removing the things that are making you dull to expose you to a greater level of sharpness, of leadership, of value. Yeah. And a lot of times, if you don't allow yourself to go through the process of being refined, and you don't understand that you need to keep being refined, the refining process is what God is requiring of us, but it's got to be self-directed. We've got to want to do it, but it's got to be spirit empowered. That means the only way we're going to get through it is that we rely on God to do it.
Right. I think one of the things that I'm like, that breaks my heart the most, because I love our people. I love Black people. Yes. I want to see Black people win all the time. Like, Issa Rae's, I'm rooting for everybody. Yes. Black, yes. Like, that is how I feel. And so I've actually, I don't agree with everything Shannon Sharpe says, but I think the fact that he's worked really hard.
Or how he lives his life.
Or that
he's got a lot of kids and moms and stuff. He's not had a great family man career.
But like, he's been trying to like grow his podcast and for that merit, like, cool. Like, dude, do your thing. Like, that's cool.
You can tell he's a hustler. He's a good interviewer. You can tell he cares.
Yeah, you can tell like those, like, so for on that merit, I'm like, oh man, like I hope you do well, dude. That's about it. But like, to see you get like a person get to that place and then those things can get taken away potentially. That's like rough to witness, especially when you're like rooting for your people.
You know, I think the thing that sucks is this whole situation with Shannon Sharpe and this young lady is all Shannon Sharpe's private personal business.
Yeah.
That Shannon Sharpe he has not done anything illegal, allegedly. The young lady is saying that he did some things that were illegal, and we'll let the courts decide what happened in their situation. There's always two versions. There's always really three versions of the truth. His side, her side, and what actually happened. You know what I mean? There's three versions. But I think as they go through this process, what it really exposes is even if somebody's a great worker, even if somebody has a great output, even if somebody has on the outside, it looks amazing, you never know what's really happening on the inside.
Yeah.
You can have a fantastic, suburban, clean, pristine home on the outside, but the minute you walk in, everything is in disarray. Everything is in chaos. And what you see in Shannon Sharpe is a guy who's got a great outside aesthetic, a great career, working out, in shape, the body all the guys want, and his personal life getting exposed, giving people a peek into, hey, listen, not only is this guy a great athlete, legendary, phenomenal show host, entertainer, but he's a man who's still in process.
Yeah.
Who still needs to be healed, who still has some areas that he has to work on. Now, because it's a court case and there's some things being alleged, you know, I'm going to stay out of what I think he should do as far as work and ABC and all of that. But what I think is unfortunate is so many times God is talking. But everybody expects thus saith the Lord. Because their version of God is this big and he only fits in church in this particular window. And because their ability to receive from God is only based on their knowledge of where God is able to be received at. Shannon Sharpe was getting messages from all over the place. That
Warning
God was putting signs. If them two that we saw on TV before it all came out were warning signs that we saw, imagine where God was giving him signs. Because listen, I know how God did with me. I can't imagine getting to the place where it's out in public. I'm getting several warnings and I'm still wilding out.
Yeah. No, it's wild.
But that's because you can't see or hear God if you're not close to God.
Yeah.
Because God is talking to a lot of people all the time. But people have never taken the time to find out what God sounds like.
Yeah.
How he talks to you, how he gets the message for you to improve. Because the message of God is love and be better. You're not defined by your past, but you got to keep going forward and being better.
Yeah.
And so many times people get stuck and never go towards be better.
That's true. I think, if anything, when I think about all of this, I think of it from a place of like reflection, not just like, oh man, look at him, but more of like, dang, if that could happen to him, like, how can I continue to make sure I'm sure my own soul,
where are my safeguards at?
My own heart, make sure I'm like, you know, keeping myself in tune. And I even think about that young lady, you know what I mean? Like, really, like, have compassion for her, you know, for her experience, for what she's processing and dealing with, you know.
She have to deal with this forever.
Because her name is out there, you know, your safety, all these different kind of things. So, like, I have compassion for her as well going through this whole process. And so, like, you know, I don't wish this on anybody. You know, yeah, she's young. Like, you know, I don't wish this kind of stuff on anybody. And I think that, you know, it's easy to sit in a place of judgment and be like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that, or you know better, or whatever. But when, like you were saying, if you're in that unhealed place, in that mindset, there's a lot of decisions that you make in an unhealed place that can be detrimental for you.
Because you're making short-term decisions in a long-term world.
Yeah. I mean, I can look back at my own life and decisions I made in times where like I was not healed, and the way those decisions impacted my life. I mean, there's very real things that I can point back to, right? So, it could have been me. It could be anybody. So that's why you have to really work to heal yourself and have some good friends around you.
You've got to have good friends. If your tribe is all just terrible people,
yes, people,
you're going to have a terrible life.
Yeah.
If you don't have anybody that's looking at you like, yuck, I don't want to hang out here. This is gross.
Yeah.
And you're out here wilding out. You need new friends, because if everybody in your world is looking at your dysfunction and saying, this looks good to me, this looks normal. If nobody in your world is like, you probably should chill out.
Yeah, you probably should stop that.
You should definitely not be
doing that.
Doing this.
Yeah, you should get some new people in your life.
You need new friends.
Yeah, for sure.
And if nobody in your world knows you're doing this, you're hiding too much.
Yeah.
You're setting your own self up for a terrible existence.
Yeah.
I really do. My heart goes out to him, man. No, my heart goes out to anybody who loses something of value over temporary decisions.
For sure.
Because it's all coming from a real unhealed place, and it's really not that person at their best. And people make so many decisions from a place of hurt.
Yeah.
That causes regret in their life, and then it sends them into this in a doom loop.
It's a spiral.
It does. It sends you into a spiral. But I think the only way to break the spiral is to have genuine people in your world that you care about and that care about you, helping to pull each other up.
For sure.
Loneliness creates, you become a council of one in loneliness. And you listening to the unhealed version of you is only going to perpetuate you making more bad decisions.
For sure.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, listen, y'all make wise decisions, okay? Go out there and make new friends. And if you're 60 years old and you're dating a 19-year-old OnlyFans model and you can hear my voice, stop it right now. If you're more than a decade older than the person you're with and y'all didn't just cut that out. Chill out. Find somebody your age. I don't really have anything else to say other than that. Y'all need to relax, okay? It's gross, okay? Anybody, another rule is you can't date anybody younger than your youngest child unless you're a teen parent, all right? Let's spread that around as a community. Let's put that out as a memo. Let's send that out as a note, you know what I mean? Some of the freaky people in the community, we need to get them reined in. Let's be each other's accountability. Let's sharpen each other up. Let's make each other better as a community. Cut this out, man. That's not us. This is not what we do as a people group, all right? That's for others, all right? Y'all know who the others that I'm talking about. That's for them, okay? That's not for us. Y'all cut this out. Shannon Sharpe, you too old to be doing this. This is not activity, allegedly. This is nasty old man activity. You need a wife.
Mm-hmm. Just a good
like a
woman.
wife like Snoop Dogg has. Shannon Sharpe, you know what that means. Some of y'all do too. If you don't know what that means, just know you need a wife, okay? Now, y'all be good. Faye, you have any last words to say to the cousins? Like, share, subscribe. Send this to a friend. And if they are in a relationship that they shouldn't be in, send them this episode.
Yeah. Podcasts grow through word of mouth, so spread the word. Share it with people you know. And if you like it and you're vibing with us, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else. Thanks, y'all.